All of this is inside your mind. None of it's real. No more than a dream is. Don't you remember? You're playing a game with yourself, forgetting who you really are. But if you're ready, we can help you wake up.
Tonight we're looking at some scary glitch in the Matrix TikToks. Welcome back, family. Thank you all to the channel members for support. Yo, I love my channel members. If y'all see this video right now, remember to like it and hype it up so it gets pushed to more people. It says around 70% of you guys are not subscribed, so make sure to smash that sub button. Let's go.
Hey, I see you show me your dance. What is it? What is it?
It's your nail.
My nail?
Yeah.
I'm not missing a nail. What the hell? What the? Call it a glitch in the Matrix. I ain't missing a nail.
So I read an article, and they must be right. The plants are confused, and they're flowering in October. What in the world, though? Like, that's like vibrant blue. I'm tripping.
Yo, that one was genuinely confusing, because how does a car get wrapped around a pole without actually having like an enter or exit?
These real-life glitches caught on camera prove we are living in a simulation. After Pope Francis finished his televised speech, this video shows the Pope just vanishing into thin air. This truck driver swerves to avoid something, and then a woman randomly appears out of nowhere. This video shows a man's future self warning him before it's too late. And this is the crazy moment, all the players and even the referee move in the exact same motion at the same time.
A video of Michael Jackson performing a song that had never been released. The problem was Michael Jackson died in 2009. And the simulation that you're going to see is so real that people in the audience, some of them were actually offended. People in the audience could not tell that that was not the real Michael Jackson. He interacted with the other dancers, he interacted with the audience, and he looked very real. It's a beautiful example of how far this digital technology and the ability to create simulations have come. The forbidden question, is it possible that each moment of every day of our lives is actually happening inside of a simulated reality that looks and feels totally real?
What happens if you put your head inside of a particle accelerator and turn it on? Kind of like this Hot Wheels loop. Particle accelerators accelerate particles to nearly the speed of light. And this guy, Anatoly Bugorsky, was unfortunate enough to stick his head inside of one while it was on, and this is what happened to him. Scientists use these giant circular machines, also known as atom smashers, to see how subatomic particles like protons behave while traveling at the speed of light, doing tests like crashing them into each other and other complex science stuff. And yes, I said at the speed of light. Well, almost. They get it up to like 99.99999% the speed of light, because 100% is still impossible at the moment, but hey, we're getting close. They do this by accelerating subatomic particles like protons in a long circular vacuum tube that's colder than space. They start off in a smaller loop where they use electric currents from really strong batteries to get the particles moving fast, and magnets to keep the particles on a stable path as they curve through the loop to be fed back into the batteries and get even faster. This feedback loop gets them fast enough until they're fed into a bigger loop to reach even higher speeds. And they inject a second set of protons here so they can play ring around the rosy with each other and just keep getting faster. They're then fed into the final loop where the two sets of protons are accelerated in opposite directions so they could collide into each other and do science. This right here would be the Large Hadron Collider, the biggest particle accelerator in the world at 27 kilometers in circumference, where the protons travel the entire circular distance more than 11,000 times per second. So yeah, it's fast. The LHC is in Switzerland and contains 1.8 billion kilometers of wires, enough to go the distance of not around Earth, but of Earth's entire orbit around the sun twice. Or from the Earth to the Sun and back 6 times. Anyway, so that's cool and all, but now that we know what a particle accelerator is, let's put our head inside of one. On July 13th, 1978, a scientist named Anatoly Bogorsky was working on the U-70 synchrotron particle accelerator just outside of Moscow, which is much smaller at 1.5 kilometers. But the speeds are pretty much the same. So there was an experimentation room in this lab where the accelerated protons are exposed to open air for a brief moment. And they had bare safety measures in place to make sure that no one walks in when a live beam is going. But Bogorsky showed up to the room 5 minutes earlier than he was supposed to. Somebody forgot to lock the door and the emergency light that signaled a live beam burnt out. Say hello to Murphy's Law. He enters the room and doesn't realize there's a beam of protons traveling through the open air in front of him because they're both silent and invisible. He bends over to have a look at a few monitors and accidentally puts his head directly into the beam of trillions of protons traveling basically the speed of light. That's 76 billion electron volts of energy passing through his skin, skull, brain, and out the other side. But the craziest part? He felt no pain at all. And there wasn't even a hole in his head. That's because protons are so small that they physically passed in between the empty space of the atoms in his own head. And the voltage didn't stop in his head, it just passed right through it, which is why he didn't die from 76 billion volts. All he reported was his entire field of vision being overcome with a light brighter than 1,000 suns, but a light that only he could see. This light was inside of his head. He kinda tripped out for a sec, but once he realized he was fine, he logged the experience and went home without telling anyone. But the next day his head started to swell, so he went to the doctors and they calculated the exact path the protons passed through his head in. Although he survived, in the years to come, he lost hearing in his left ear, started having episodic seizures, and the nerves on the left side of his face were destroyed, freezing his facial expression in place for the last 45 years.
Yo, I feel for him, bro. Like, I remind me of, I think, this Japanese or Chinese scientist that got hit with a bunch of radiation and just shot through his whole body, and like, he died one of the most gruesome deaths I've ever heard. And I actually made a story about that, so if you want to see it, I'm probably gonna tag it.
This is what happens when you take a high dose of. As this shows, it can change your entire reality, so do not take this substance recreationally.
When you let go of the
I don't feel good. It's okay. Relax. I'm kind of freaking out. Don't be afraid. You need to relax. I can't tell what's real and what's hallucination. Why do you think there's a difference?
You're looking at it wrong. All of this is inside your mind. None of it's real. No more than a dream is. Don't you remember? You're playing a game with yourself, forgetting who you really are. But if you're ready, we can help you wake up.
Do you really think your life is just random? Do you actually believe it's real? What is this voice? Don't be afraid. I've always been here.
If you haven't had this experience, you might find things like the laughing or what the inner voice was saying a bit confusing. I'm happy to explain that in an upcoming video, but this is an example of how a high dose won't just change the world around you, it will change the world inside you. So I made this video to advocate for a reform on policies that are stopping us from scientifically researching this substance properly, as I think it could hold many secrets to how our mind and our reality work. Follow for more trippy content.
Just watching that was hella trippy. Let me know if you guys want to see more trippy videos like those. But yeah, don't do drugs, chat.
Is real.
This happens to me every day. Look, I have to grab 4 on level 3. It's right there, right? The 3rd spot done. Now, I swear to God, this happens to me every day. I park always on the 4th floor, but always different places. Level 4. My grab 4. Dude, this happens to me every day. Every day. Look how many spaces there are in here. On level 3, a RAV4 is always parked in the same exact space that I am. It's weird.
No. My fear is happening. My fear is happening of not being able to get to my car in a park.
So a month or two ago, my boyfriend and I were on a walk and we came across this tree house, okay? I've lived in the same house my entire life, so for 20 years. I've walked in this area a million times, I've taken pictures here, and I've never seen this tree house before. I brought it up to my parents, they've never seen the tree house. So we were like, what the heck? And we go up to the tree house, we start like poking around. Whoever's tree house this is, like, didn't want people in it, I guess. The rope ladder was like thrown up into it, so my boyfriend had to climb up to pull the rope ladder down for us to climb up in it and like poke around. I don't want to say the tree house looks 50 years old, but it's definitely not new. Like, I would have seen it before if it was here. Someone in my family would have seen it. The wood is kind of rotted and there's old, freaky, spooky toys on the floor. Like the beheaded doll in the middle of the floor. There's also like rusty tin boxes and stuff. It was just a spooky vibe, you know, never seen this thing. It's full of old, like, dirty, freaky toys. So I make the joke like, LOL, what if we're in a horror movie, like we're the only ones who can see the treehouse and it just disappears, like we come back and it's gone. The treehouse is not there. I immediately called my dad. I'm like, remember that time I told you about that? And he was like, yeah, but I never went and looked at it. So no one has seen this treehouse except my boyfriend and I. So anyway, here is the location. That is what it looked like. And I'm fixing to go show you that spot right now. So this is where it was. It would have been between these two trees right here. In this video, you can see where it's wedged between the trees. I would have set my phone like right about here to take that video. And as you can see, there's not a treehouse. The only logical thing I can think of is someone built a treehouse with old dirty wood and then filled it with old dirty toys and then tore it down. But I think this is public land, so who would do that? Like, the city wouldn't do. If you've seen the treehouse, please message me.
What the fuck? She posted that on Friday the 13th, by the way. And I got that video sent to me so many times. I was like, what the fuck is going on? It's a freaky glitch of the Matrix. She literally said that she's lived there for 20 years and has never once seen this treehouse. And the only people who did see the treehouse were her and her boyfriend. She told her family and her friends they never saw this treehouse. And then when she went back, the treehouse was gone. That's creepy, you guys. There's been some weird glitches. I also want to show you this. Where does the guy in the red come from? Look at over here. Let's play it again. I've watched this so many times, and in the comments, people are like, I have no idea. Where did he come from? He just pops up out of the blue. Anyway, I think our Matrix is glitching, or we're entering alternate universes. I mean, CERN did get turned back on, so some weird shit is happening. And we're at the end of the disintegration process, which means that anything that has happened in the past can happen again. So nothing should surprise us anymore.
Trying to open a portal. And they've actually done it before. The last time was in 2016.
On July 5th, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, CERN, is restarting the Large Hadron Collider. The LHC has been in use since 2010, and it just had some updates done, and now it's firing up again. But it's not a conspiracy. They're being very clear about what they're doing. The LHC collides particles at extremely high speeds and watches what happens to see if they break apart or form new things, and that gives clues about how the universe itself and everything in it formed. It also helps us understand what the universe is composed of, including things like dark matter. But the LHC has never created a wormhole or a black hole ever. It probably never will, but if it did create a black hole, it might not be a bad thing. The black hole would be microscopic and it would disintegrate immediately, but we would learn so much about the universe. Also, black holes aren't intrinsically dangerous. It's just a massive object. They don't suck things in. Anyways, the LHC can achieve an energy that no other particle accelerators ever have before, but that doesn't even compare to what happens in nature. Cosmic rays collide with particles in the Earth's atmosphere at much greater energies, and we're fine. And nobody is trying to open a portal to another dimension. They're trying to find evidence of other dimensions, but that just means discovering new tiny little particles. You couldn't go to another dimension. And just to be clear, they've never done this yet. Nobody's ever discovered an unknown dimension. So this is all very exciting in the world of physics, but they've been doing this for a very long time and there's nothing to worry about. I promise everything's gonna be okay. CERN isn't responsible for the Mandela effect, and I don't know how people are connecting this to Beyonce or the United States economic protests. CERN isn't even in the United States.
She just says all that, then we just disappear. Like, just imagine just a big black hole just spawned out of nowhere.
It's because you're so ungrateful.
Don't eat it. Poison.
No, don't open it.
He has to open the box.
This is entirely your fault.
Don't eat it. Don't eat it. Poison. Poison.
They're here, and it's all your fault.
Oh!
No.
They know it's you. You're in
Don't
control.
open the door.
You hear that?
No, don't open it. Don't open it.
They're here, and it's all your fault.
You did it.
You should have used your mind to stop it.
Stop it. You have to take control.
Stop the door.
Hey! You alright in here? I called you. Why didn't you answer? I was like screaming, "It's Lorraine! It's Lorraine!" into the phone at the top of my lungs.
What were you watching? Do you even remember?
Did the pizza Oh! What happened here? Did you forget to take your medicine this morning? Well, you know it's not good to miss a dose. Well, it's not too late to take it now. Let's get back on track. And why are you standing here in the dark? It's a beautiful day outside. Let some sunlight in. You need to get outside and enjoy it.
Proof that we live in a simulation.
Yo, the sky is blue! And then it turned off! Yo!
I got that on camera! I got that on camera! I got that on camera!
This thing was, Fed just went that way. Fed, no like.
Alright, so my husband and I are pretty sure that we're living in a simulation. The neighborhood we moved into last year is very bizarre and things are kind of on a loop. So we've called it the loop. We're pretty sure it's a simulation, and I'm gonna start recording some of these things. But just for an example, I went to go get coffee this morning. It's about 10 minutes there and back for me to go get that. And when I left, I pulled out of the driveway. There was a woman who we see quite often with a stroller and a baby walking up and down the street. She was right at the end of my driveway when I left. When I got back, about 20 minutes later, she was in the same spot, moving very slowly. And I'm pretty sure it's a glitch. And when I say this lady was in the same spot, I mean she was in the same spot, not facing the other direction, coming back from like going to the end, turning around and coming back. She was still facing the same direction, going the same way, and basically in the same spot. I think I need to make this a series.
Guys, did this person just possibly catch the sun simulator on camera? All right, so it's this TikToker named As of Tomorrow. If you go to his page, he has a lot of videos of possibly catching the sun simulator in the sky. But I want you to take a look at this video, and I want you to come to your own judgment. And this is his page right here as well, and I'm also going to tag him in the video.
So I'm sure we all seen this reflection on our phones or cameras when we face it at the sun. All right. So this video was 5 years ago. My buddy, did when he launched a weather balloon up in the stratosphere. This weekend I went to go visit him because he was going to do it again. He said, so he told me to come through. So I came through, and look what we got when we got back the camera. Look at the sun. Remember the sun, right? That last clip, how it looked? Look at it now. Check this bad boy out. What are those? All around that sun, right? I'm going to show you guys the reflection because you guys are probably going to be like, oh, it's a reflection from the lens. Yeah. Shut up. But check this out. Hear me out. All right, I think it's coming up. Where did I mark it where I could see it? Damn. Oh, and it's in slow motion because the weather balloon was going crazy spinning. It was mad windy. So right here, this is the reflection. All right, that's the reflection. Right here, it looks like it's attached, literally attached to the sun. Like, talk about blocking the sun. That shit looks legit like it's blocking the sun. Am I right or wrong? Like, they upgraded in Sun Simulator. Because I remember seeing that shit on my other reflection. But look at this pattern, right? Looks like that tube thing. Oh, shit. The next clip, y'all going to trip out. So check this out. I'm pretty sure once you guys see this, you guys are going to be convinced that it's a Sun Simulator. So Look at that little thing I circled, right? Kind of looks like a satellite. Now check this. Oh my God. Look at that. Look at that pattern from NASA, right? And look at that, what I circled. What the? That's the same exact thing. That is the sun simulator. They either upgraded it on April 8th and literally, hugging the shit out of that sun. Like, is it good for it? Probably not. How do they do it? I don't know, but I know they did it on April 8th. That's the only way I could think how they did that without us noticing, right? They had to do it on April 8th. That's the whole commotion going on. God damn, dude, that's legit. I think me and my friend really got a video of this sun simulator. I mean, even the sun looks different. It's not even like what it was 5 years ago. That is nuts. What do you guys think? Do you think we caught the real sun simulator and you think it's attached to the sun? Because that's dangerous. I hope that shit doesn't blow up. I don't know how they did that. Oh, that pisses me off. Anyways, leave a comment down below.
Let me know down in the comments if you guys believe in a sun simulator, because I've never heard about that.
Am I tripping? Or did all the pine cones land straight up?
Grabbing the lemon, right? I cut it in half, and then I cut it in half once more right there. You can see me cut it, right? I go get a bag. Okay, I grab the bag, I go back for the lemon, and I grab the lemon, and I touch it, and I'm like, why is it not cut in half? And my face, I'm like,
Dude, if I'm being honest, I almost guarantee she definitely just cut the fork and just placed it on her leg.
It's hitting us.
Yeah!
What the?
What the? Yo,
Why is she frozen? Oh, I'm tripping. What the fuck?
Y'all, this man Elon just glitched in real life and this shit caught on camera, y'all. So Elon Musk was walking and there was a guy next to him, I guess, interviewing him or whatever. But then this man's brain just started malfunctioning, y'all. I'm not even trying to be funny at this point. I'm just trying to figure out what the was going through this man's brain. He was up there doing some little weird movements, y'all. People say it's the ketamine. But look at this video over my head. Let's be honest. This do not look normal, y'all. This was the same shit he was doing that day when he was at the inauguration. Y'all remember he was moving his head around and shit, and then somebody was recording him and he caught that person in the crowd and shit. The movement he was just doing, This is what it remind me of. Y'all remember this scene from Men in Black, don't y'all? That's what it remind me of. This shit crazy. This man real live moving like he in a simulation. So what y'all think? Glitch in the Matrix or something else? Or is it the ketamine? Or is it he's one of them people from Men in Black? Y'all let me know down below in the comments. This shit crazy.
I'm pretty sure they said Elon Musk has like Asperger's, right? Either that or he already put the Neuralink in his head.
Some people create scenarios in their head for fun, daydreaming about future plans, replaying conversations, or imagining what-if moments. That's normal, and most people know it's just imagination. But in psychosis, those imagined scenarios can start to feel real. The brain's reality filter blurs, and thoughts or mental images aren't recognized as just thoughts. It's not overthinking or being dramatic. It's a symptom of a mind struggling to separate imagination from actual events. Someone might become convinced a made-up event really happened, or believe it's unfolding right now. This can trigger fear, confusion, or behaviors that seem unusual to others. Psychosis can appear in conditions like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or severe depression, and it's treatable with proper care and support. The difference between harmless daydreaming and reality blurring experiences matters, because when the mind can't tell the difference, it needs understanding, not judgment.
These two women prove we live in a matrix. So we have two mysterious women coming up to these people's front door. Watch.
It is freaking creepy. 8:41. Somebody knocks on the door. And then, hold on. Check out their outfits.
This is them leaving.
Two different dresses from what they were wearing. It's nothing compared to what they were wearing. And we saw them. It had polka dots. It had the dresses from the
Those are two different dresses.
We literally just saw them and they were wearing... And like, go fast forward, like it changes color.
There's no way.
Right as soon as they get over there on our porch. What the heck is this? Is this at 8:41? Look, they said they were missionary, you know. But missionaries don't come at 9 p.m.
This has got to be a simulation.
I asked them, you know, that, you know, it's late. And they left. And he said, I'm sorry, not trying to be rude.
خش اعوذ بالله تسود نعرق
I just had the craziest shit happen to me. I was posting a video on my Instagram stories and my reflection is doing something different than I'm doing in the video. Here's me talking on camera. Here's me in the reflection of the mirror doing something different. Let me show you the video. Look at this. Look at my reflection and look at me. My reflection is staying still while I'm clearly moving. And it's even more trippy because in my reflection, it looks like I am clearly head down, looking down, okay? My head is not looking down there, just like slightly, but not all the way like that. Second, in the reflection, I'm standing in front of my painting, but in this, I'm not standing in front of my painting. It looks like I'm standing straight in front of the painting, where here I am standing at an angle. What the hell? This was so trippy. When I saw it, I kept playing it over and over and over, and everybody that I've shown it to keeps playing it over and over because they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, yeah,
Somebody asked me, what does this mean? It means that all realities are happening at once. Okay? You guys know that I have a ton of glitches in the Matrix that happen to me all the time. And every time I post about it, everybody's like, you're crazy. It's this, it's that, it's this and that. Y'all are gonna keep finding excuses. I don't care. Live a boring, logical life. I'm having a fun life over here. This happened right before I went out to dinner. And tell me why at dinner, it just so happened that I got a menu where the appetizer that I usually get, that's $9.90, said $6.75. I'm sorry, what? And it was an up-to-date menu because it had the February specials on it. And it's only February 3rd. So when the check came and it said $9.90, I said, hey, your menu says $6.75. 2 people came over and were so confused. They don't understand how it happened, but guess what? They had to honor it. We're timeline jumping. We're portal jumping. A lot of people will tell you, don't put a mirror facing another mirror because it creates portals. Yeah, that's why I do it. I do it on purpose because I want to portal jump all the time. Clearly, some glitch happened here right before I went to dinner that made me the lucky winner of $3 off my appetizer randomly because of a typo on a menu that nobody else in the restaurant had. Just me, just me. What is going on, y'all? We are shifting timelines and realities like crazy. Portal jumping, timeline jumping, quantum jumping every single second of every day. This right here is a clear example. What a cool time to be alive. The fact that we can literally witness this happen because the veil is gone.
Like mirrors could potentially be like portals or like different dimensions or whatever. But you know what is really weird? If you look in the mirror for like at least 5 to 10 minutes straight, like you low-key start to hallucinate. It's actually kind of strange.
Did you know if you take mushrooms, you can actually see the world's binaural code? Patients on psilocybin weren't just hallucinating. They were seeing identical patterns. Digital grids stitched through walls, faces pixelating into glowing fractals, wallpaper folding into matrix-like symbols. Objects would buffer like reality was rendering in real time. One subject described touching the pattern and watching it respond like software, small changes cascading into massive distortions. Memory fragments replayed like cached files, looping endlessly. What terrified researchers wasn't the visions themselves, but their consistency. Thousands of strangers across decades reported seeing the exact same code, the same digital lattice, the same glitching faces, the same buffering reality. Strassman's final report raised a chilling question. If multiple people can perceive identical underlying patterns, what does that suggest about our reality? Once you've seen the seams, you can't unknow the possibility that your life is someone else's program.
Don't do drugs.
Tell us about CERN.
So the Large Hadron Particle Collider in Switzerland is this large circle where they're basically trying to create antimatter. They're trying to harness the God particle. There's a huge statue of Shiva the Destroyer outside of the center, and there have been some incredibly dark things witnessed at this space. There have been some people that have caught footage of them doing something that at a minimum looks like a reenactment of a human sacrifice. I don't know why you would do such a thing. Like, this all took place right in front of the Shiva the Destroyer statue. There have been many people that have come forward that basically said when this particle collider is turned on, it actually pairs the fibers of our space-time, and it's created kind of these parallel fractures in our timeline. There are also people that really believe that what they're trying to do is create a portal to unleash the demons, the spirits of the Nephilim, to basically let them come out of the gates of hell. They're using technology, something that we would perceive physically, to actually allow a portal for something multidimensional. That's all on the road to something that we won't be able to come back from if we're not careful.
True Stories of Simulation Glitches Part 3. This person was 10 years old driving to the beach with their aunt and a couple of friends. They had taken 2 cars. During the drive, they had to take a very sharp turn. Right after, they heard a voice in the car laugh and say, "Sharp bend, hmm?" And the driver slammed on the brakes. They noticed at the same time the other car also stopped. The other driver asked, "Did you hear that voice?" They both heard it and to this day cannot explain what happened. Follow for more.
These are some times where there was a glitch in the simulation and made me think, wow, we are the Matrix. This is a little bit of a fun video today, as I've been working all day on my YouTube video coming out later. Okay, let's do this. What the fuck? Oh yeah, mate, just turn up your render distance, eh? My brain is confused. Couldn't agree more. I like my buildings like I like my pancakes. Flat! Right, who's getting fired? Ricky! Just casually 4 seasons out this bloke's window. Fam! This isn't Doctor Strange's fucking wardrobe. What is happening? But, why? This brings a whole new meaning to going undercover. Right, okay, who broke life? While we're here, gold at the end of every rainbow. Let's see a fat ton of rainbows. Be the fat ton of gold. Nah, put the world in some rice. We broke it. All this makes me think, could we be in a simulation? And here come the nightmares.
That flat building reminded me of this building in the city that I saw that was lean. It was almost, it was literally like, I was like, yo, our city's supposed to be lean, and then I remember there's literally a leaning tower of Pisa. So I guess it's possible.
Now, when I say the world is a stage, I mean the world is a stage. Did Stevie Wonder just forget that he was blind? Or is this just a coincidence? You see, nothing is what it seems in this world, guys. You guys remember this one where he catches the falling mic? Oh, one more time for all the people at the back. Mic grab. It is all an illusion. The world is one big stage and you are being played.
I'm not gonna lie, that first one was definitely concerning because how did he see her blow the kiss? Literally, you gotta see that. Like, you can't just sense that.
Death grip on the door. Holy shit. Oh.
Woman stuck in a loop.
Someone explain to me what the this is a shadow of. There's nothing above me. It's not from that pole.
Very carefully, because no one can explain what happened to Cardi B.
Yes, be involved. Y'all want to be involved so bad, but nobody asked me about them gift. What's good?
Look at the other host.
Because I'm going to be honest with you. Take the gift cards.
Now notice how he claps 3 times and then it's as if nothing ever happened.
Take the gift cards, take the gift cards, take the gift cards.
Yeah, because they might put, what's that thing that was going around in the...
The internet had a lot of questions to ask when this clip was first released.
He didn't move, blink or nothing.
Notice how the presenter suddenly changes when she says, Holy Ghost.
Yeah, it's like they say in Catholic school, leave room for the Holy Ghost. Anyway, there is a lot of memories today, actually. It's a big day in music history.
The king of rock and roll, and as Mark Cohn says in his great song, Walking in Memphis, there's a pretty little thing waiting for the...
As you can see, not everything is as it seems.
Perfecto, Mariano. Empezamos atentos entonces a las novedades. Mariano. Mariano. Vamos a...
But here is the big question. What do you think is the reason for all of these celebrities freezing on live TV? I don't have an answer, and that's why I'm asking you.
I got the perfect answer to this question. One word. Drugs.
Microsleeps. Time skips. You didn't blink, you rebooted. You're watching a lecture. You blink, and suddenly it's been 30 seconds. That's not zoning out, that's a microsleep. Your brain force quits consciousness for a moment, usually between 1 to 15 seconds. You have no memory of it, no awareness. To everyone else, you were awake, but your main processing was gone. It's like the OS quietly ran a reboot in the background, hoping no one would notice. But you notice. And what if it happens when driving? The simulation starts to look a little less safe. It's unsettling because you lose control without realizing it. 1 second you're present, the next your system briefly shuts off all active threads. What else is running while you're not? Microsleeps expose a scary question. What if the brain has a hidden sleep mode that activates more often than we think? What if there are moments, milliseconds even, when nobody's piloting? How many moments of your life were you technically there, but not logged in? And if that can happen without warning, how do you know it's not happening right now? What if this moment, this one right here, is another background reboot, and you're just now coming back online? The scarier thought, what did the system do while you were out?
This is the spot. I gotta get over. Okay, yes. This is it. So, here is the hallway. Show that. Inconspicuous. Tiny little hole in the ground. Honestly, just like a little cave or something. I don't know. That's what I thought it was the first time I saw this the other day. I mean, it's out really in the middle of nowhere. Under this big oak. But if you actually look down inside, there are stairs down there. I didn't notice this before. Last time I was here, it was in a rush and it was a lot darker out, but it looks like these stairs used to go up further. What I find really weird is that all the lights, these lights are on.
People are, oh man, people are like freaking out. I don't know what's going on. What happened? Oh my God. I'm sorry, I don't know. I have no clue what's happening. There's people screaming. Sorry. This is ridiculous. Sorry about that. I guess people like disappeared or something. The cops just showed up. This doesn't even feel real. I have no idea what's going on right now. Everyone's freaking out. I'm freaking out. Officer, some lady, her kid disappeared. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is crazy. Apparently a bunch of people just disappeared here on this street. This guy's wife is gone. This baby.
Unless that's a movie set, it's gonna be really hard to fake that with that many people. And there was a police.
Dark glitches caught on camera. This glitch managed to capture somebody teleporting. So it was captured on May 5th, 2012 in Russia by a driver's dash cam. The person is driving along when all of a sudden a man in a white lab coat teleports into the middle of a busy road. A truck sees this and swerves to avoid hitting him. The man seems completely unaware that he almost got hit and continues walking along. This may just be proof that Russia has developed some sort of advanced teleportation technology. Or it was just a glitch in the Matrix. I'll let you decide. But make sure to like and follow for more videos like this.
That was really interesting because even like the way how the truck curved, it looked like no matter what, it kind of would have hit him.
A TikTok user by the name of Jackson the City was in Sunny Isle Beach in Miami, Florida, when all of a sudden he noticed a very strange phenomenon in the horizon. What looks like a huge city, the only problem is there is no city visible from Sunny Isle Beach. So what the heck is going on here? Check this out.
So I'm on a pier, I'm in Miami, near Sunny Isles. I see some weird shit. I want somebody to help me. So I'm gonna show you some comparisons, right? That's a yacht right there, you can see. That's a sailboat right there that you can see. I'm scanning over here real quick. That is a cargo ship right there that you can see. Somebody on a jet ski. What the f is that? I come out here all the time. I know what cargo ships look like. That's one right there. This one seems like it's further out behind it. It looks like a city. What is that shit?
In my head, the first thing that came to mind was either a city, like he was saying, or the Titanic. Maybe it could be like a special type of cargo ship.
Wormhole captured on film in NW Columbia. The workers were left in shock after witnessing the tunnel morph and shift. Shaquille O'Neal is a giant, but did you know he was this big? Him standing next to his ex-wife. Him holding a normal Krispy Kreme donut. Him holding a basketball. Shaq's championship ring is so big that a normal person has to use the fingers to stay on their hand. Shaq wears a size 23 shoe and has to get them custom made. Him standing next to the tallest person in the world.
I genuinely don't think it's healthy to be that large. I'm not gonna lie.
Look at this. Look at this. There's one there. There's one there. There's one there. They're just standing in a line.
These are real-life glitches caught on camera, and they're absolutely insane. Up first, a woman captured what looked like a squirrel coming out of nowhere, but it honestly looks like it just came out of a shadow. Pay attention to it and let me know what you think.
I am witnessing a glitch in the Matrix, and I swear to God, if this squirrel doesn't come back out, I'm gonna have a panic attack because if you see his nose, I'm not going crazy. Oh my God, wait, stop it. There's nothing there. There's not a grate there. There's not a grate there. Where did this thing just come from? What the? He just came out of nothing! Just run to it!
Next up is a video of a couple friends who captured a video of the sky split into night and day. Check this out.
Now, I think the sky just broke. What happened with the sky? It broke. Why is New Mexico this obvious on our weather? You can either have a sunny day or a cloudy day. But why is it obvious? What the is going on, bro? This is weird.
Finally, this next video might be the weirdest video on the internet. Just check this out.
Or any weird, unexplainable stuff in my house, but I bought a guitar the other week at a garage sale from this old lady down the street, and every time I pick it up or strum it or play it, really weird shit happens, and I'll show you. It's some Lotus, like very 80s looking guitar, and every time I strum, like that, shit like that happens every time I mess with this thing. Like that.
Some of these celebrities are actually agents.
Kanye knew Charlemagne was an industry plant all along. Listen.
They want to hear him talk, man. No, they want this man to throw them blows, man. They waiting for. They waiting for Charlemagne to tap these gloves and go at Ye.
I'm not trying to throw blows, but this is what I want to
Let's go.
Like, to me, it seems like you're such a walking contradiction.
In a recent interview on the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast, The Breakfast Club, Charlemagne and DJ Envy were asked this.
How was it when y'all got that visit from the next level?
What's the next level?
The people, man.
What's the next level?
When your career is at that level, and then you get a visit to go to the next level.
You talking Illuminati?
I ain't say no names.
We ain't supposed to speak about that, Wallow.
Yeah, we don't speak about that.
Wallow, you know we ain't supposed to, that's why I'm sweating here.
I ain't even gonna say that, because I might get called in for that. I'm just.
Did you see Charlemagne's reaction? They ain't allowed to talk about it, right? They was just joking though, right?
By the way, this video is scripted and for entertainment purposes only. Stay weird.
testing which celebrity's private jet can take off from a helipad. First up is John Travolta's Challenger 601. That plane's not in the sim, so we're in a Challenger 350, but a very similar size nonetheless. Let's see how it does. Next up is Taylor Swift's Dassault Falcon 7X. Rumor has it she uses this instead of a car. Next up, Shark Tank star Mark Cuban's Bombardier Global 6000. And finally, Drake's 767. He has a Dash 200, but there's only a Dash 300 in the sim, so that's what this is. And we're using the closest livery I could find to his as well.
This is gonna go viral. I mean, I walk here every day and I know I don't see that. Trust me. What the foot?
I don't know what the that is.
What?
It looked like Thor threw like this giant, like one, like, you know the axe that he had in Endgame? It looked like he threw like the giant axe at a wall, and that's exactly what it looks like.
It almost like looks like it's like not real. And no one said anything today about it?
They said shit about it.
What? I noticed right away because I walk here all the time.
Yeah, look up, man.
Could that?
I don't know if anyone else be seeing this shit today, but like I'm looking at the reflection of the sun in the water right now, and you see there's like a rainbow around it. Like, you look up, I'm gonna try to block out the sun. Does anyone else see that? There's a huge like rainbow just going around the sun. That's sick.
I've actually seen that before, but with the moon. I remember I had my glasses on at the time, and I was looking at the moon. I was like, is this supposed to look like that? Maybe it's just my glare from my glasses. I take off my glasses and it's still there. I'm like, dude, let me know if you've ever seen anything like that.
Hey, what the?
No, and this is how you know simulation is broke. Look, the sun is over there. No clouds, no clouds, no clouds. This cloud over there. But where's the shadow for this cloud coming from if the sun is behind me? Check this out.
There is a shadow on the sky. Is that even possible? I don't understand it. Some weird clouds, and then there's a shadow behind the clouds, but like the sun's there as well. So what is going on there?
And then normal. This just creeps me out, man. I don't even like to be in this room anymore, but I sleep in here. I mean, look at that. That shit is changing right there.
Идем мы, значит, такие гуляем, а тут, ебать, на проводе стул висит, блядь.
Bingo! Toca.
Yo, that raining fish one I actually heard is a real life phenomenon. Like, first it might look AI edited, But that's actually a real thing, isn't it crazy? I'm gonna try to put in a video explaining it.
If you ever see fish raining down from the sky during a storm, you need to get inside immediately. So this is actually a real thing that's happened in the past, where different parts of the world have had this strange phenomenon where small animals actually fall down from the sky like rain. This is called rain of animals. It's a rare meteorological event where small animals fall down from the sky like rain during or after a storm. Specific examples are the Singapore fish rain of 1861, where during 3 days extreme rainfall happened where fish fell from the sky, or the terrible snake rain that happened in 1680. There was actually even a worm rain in Scotland just in 2011 where they were forced to cancel school. As far as why it happens, the most likely explanation ranges from tornadoes or waterspouts or other strong updrafts picking up these small animals from the ground or from bodies of water and then carrying them significant distances where they slowly lose energy until the animals fall back down to the ground. But because it's so rare, we haven't really studied it very well, so we don't know exactly why it happens. So it still remains an unexplained phenomenon to this day.
Guys, I kind of feel like I should call someone. This girl has been standing here completely like a statue, like this, for 15 minutes. At first I thought she was waiting for someone, but no one has come, and there's nothing she's staring at. What the
What is this guy doing? He's just been standing there. There's nothing there to look at. What is he doing? Hey, check this out. Why did the lights move with the camera? See? It's still. It's looking at it in the mirror. Look at.
I got a notification that a pet suddenly appeared in my room. I didn't know it meant literally.
Every single day, as a good little sleeper, thoughts everybody sucks in the numbers Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then 4 more days of increasing this stupid, ridiculous, ignorant, all it has promised on Weird.
For some reason, that reminded me of the Bible story where like God came as a burning bush that just could never be extinguished.
This is where things take a truly disturbing turn. cars seem to pass right through this bizarre figure. So Isaac's uncle decides to go out to investigate. And things are about to get even weirder. The dark figure seems to just disappear as the man approaches. So is this something supernatural watching his house? Or just what do you think this is? Let me know.
I don't know, dude. I was just making this for a while, and it's like not that full anymore. And I was like, why is all of this still showing? What is happening?
Insane, but I was looking at these Hello Kitty Squishmallows, and this one right here is literally moving. Look at this. Is anyone seeing this?
Oh, what the fuck?
Yo, the sky is fucking blue!
I'm over here!
And then it turned off!
No!
Yo!
Don't sit your Crocs in the sun. Both are size 5, but one shrunk.
I'm in.
What? What the? Racist. That's crazy.
When I lived in Florida, I had this mug from Steven Universe, and I got it in a merchandise grab bag. I've never seen one exactly like this for sale, like on its own. This is the only one I had. But then when we moved from Florida to Tennessee and I unpacked 2 of them. I have 2 of them. I don't know where this one came from. I was so confused by this. I even texted my sister like, hey, did you have a mug? And I stole yours? And she's like, I don't know where that came from. I think I just had my first ever glitch in the Matrix. Look at this. We only have one.
Yo, who left their shadow, bro? Like, nobody's here. Like, nobody's here. Who left their shadow? Come get it. It's at Planet Fitness. If you want your shadow back, it's right there. Hold on, clear it. It's like, you can't see, bro. Oh, there it is. Oh.
Did he go?
Do you guys see this like line in my pool? Cause like if I go to touch it, there's nothing there. It's like not a piece of hair, but it's like this line. I know I'm not crazy. What is that?
Идем мы, значит, такие гуляем, а тут ебать на проводе стул висит, блядь.
On his phone, like a 2-block plane, you know, could I come out like on his phone?
The dumbest shit. Like a cartoon.
So in this video, you can see me grabbing a lemon, right? I cut it in half, and then I cut it in half once more, right there. You can see me cut it, right? I go get a bag, Okay, I grab the bag, I go back for the lemon, and I grab the lemon, and I touch it, and I'm like, why is it not cut in half? In my face, I'm like, what? So I'm like inspecting it, I take it out of the bag, I grab this lemon, trying to see if I cut that one, I recut the lemon, because the lemon wasn't cut anymore. I'm freaking
I was waiting for the subway thinking about a song and it started singing in my head. The only other guy on the platform started singing the song at the exact point it was in my head and then smiled at me and left. I felt like a sim. I passed the same man on my walking trail who won't make eye contact and slightly turns his body away when he passes. No matter what time or what day I walk, he passes me for 12 years. One day I posted about my Matrix guy and I stopped seeing him. I needed dish soap but didn't feel like going to the store to get it. I took my dog for a walk and on the way back there was a singular bottle of a dish soap on a sidewalk right in my path to the house. Like I put it there just for me. This right there, the Matrix is collecting bug reports. Nearly every time I go somewhere I don't go often, i.e. Pizza Hut, no one is there when I arrive and 4 to 6 people show up by the time I leave. It feels like NPCs spawned to make my reality feel more real, but it's just a little delayed and obvious. Not sure if it's a glitch or just weird, but as a kid I slept, walked, and one time I lost my favorite sweatshirt I had worn to sleep. I searched everywhere, tore my room apart. Years later I woke up wearing it. Met a man in Rome, got to talking, found out he lived in my exact apartment in Philly 10 years before I did. Like the exact apartment number. He described the layout to me and everything. I will never forget it. Lost my glasses in the ocean and made a joke to one stranger passing by that if they find glasses, they're mine. They came back an hour later and said they found them a mile down the beach. She was the only person I told. Why are we paying for water? I'm having deja vu of deja vu to the point I already lived the first deja vu, but somehow happens again. When I was 10, I decided randomly that my favorite day of the whole year was April 12th. I told everyone I knew this and even celebrated the day every year as my favorite day. Then, on April 12th, 2019, my first child was born completely unplanned. I woke up at 4:30 a.m., went back to sleep, and woke up again at 4:25 a.m. I've never in my entire life, no matter where I've lived, at home as a kid, college, now married, ever seen a single neighbor bring in their groceries. My mom saved a favorite toy of mine when I was a baby. When I found out I was expecting twins, my mom was going through old toys to hand them down to them. There were 2. I lost a shirt, decided one day that I'm finding this shirt today. Ended up finding 2 of them, same exact shirt. This all makes me think of that girl on Reddit who swore up and down that her closet suddenly turned into a bathroom, and it turned out she had a brain tumor that was manipulating her view of reality.
So it's moving. But wait, when we start moving, it looks like it's still, and then you can tell it's moving again.
Fallas en la Matrix.
This it's not moving.
You
guys, there is a glitch.
Simulation glitch.
I mean, it could have been twins, I guess.
Yo, what is going on? That's Aaron Rodgers. And that's Aaron Rodgers. Are you Aaron Rodgers? You were. Hey, what the hell?
What? I just want some water, bro.
Hello, chickies. Hi,
my babies! Oh goodness. Where y'all going? Where are you going? You ready for some grubs? Let's go! It's grub time! What the fool? Why are they all not moving? What? What? What's happening right now? Babies?
I think I seen that in like one of my first ever Glitch in the Matrix TikToks, and someone told me that was a still image that they manipulated or something like that.
New York is facing a serious problem right now. This year, the city has seen a very concerning rise in real-life subway surfing. You heard that right. In fact, just this past weekend, 2 teenage girls were found dead on top of a train at the Marcy Avenue station in Brooklyn. They were only 12 and 13 years old. Problem is, this isn't even the first time this has happened recently. 5 people have died this year alone as a result of similar incidents across the city. And while this has been around for decades, real-life subway surfing has far transcended just being a dangerous game or stunt, because now it's become one of the most deadly social media trends online. In fact, this video is allegedly of one of the girls just days before she died filming one of her stunts. And not only that, but according to New York officials, over 1,800 subway surfing videos have had to be removed from social media in just the first half of 2025. It's even reached the point where police are now deploying drones to try and spot these surfers before they get hurt. Thankfully, this has already led to over 200 rescues. But the question is, how do you even stop something like this before even more lives are taken?
In my opinion, the whole idea of subway surfing just makes no sense, because if you know you can get to your location safe being in the train carton, why do you need to go on top of it?
Morbid Facts, Part 757. In the summer of 2025, Jordan Peterson nearly died after developing pneumonia and sepsis that left him in the ICU for weeks. His daughter later revealed that the illness began after he was exposed to heavy mold while cleaning out his late father's basement, triggering what she called chronic inflammatory response syndrome, a rare and unofficial life-threatening immune condition. He reportedly suffered nerve damage, extreme sensitivities to medication, and even paralysis. It wasn't the first time Peterson's health had spiraled. Years earlier, he'd endured a near-fatal benzodiazepine withdrawal that required months of treatment abroad. This latest crisis left him bedridden and fighting for his life once again, with his daughter saying that for days, doctors weren't sure if he'd survive. Now, months later, Peterson is slowly recovering. He's reportedly regained much of his mobility, is speaking and reading again, and continues intensive physical therapy from home. His daughter says he's still very fragile but improving daily, though his public appearances, lectures, and recordings remain on hold as he focuses on regaining full strength after what she called the closest he's ever been to dying.
When this guy brought to an emperor a brazen bull where people were locked inside and burned alive, the emperor asked him to test it himself to see if it really worked. Right away, he was thrown inside the bull and started being burned, and soon his screams could be heard through the bull's nostrils, making it sound like the bull itself was roaring. The emperor laughed like crazy and approved the invention, letting him be cooked alive inside the bull, not knowing that this would soon bring him a heavy revenge. For years, the emperor became the biggest fan of the brazen bull and began daily executions of prisoners and political enemies, while he forced the entire city to watch and stand up applauding. The problem was, the executions usually took at least an hour, and most people thought it was inhuman and stopped going to watch. That made the emperor angry, and he started picking people who hadn't committed any crimes to be executed as well, which made the entire town really furious. Because of that, a big group of people started a popular revolt and captured the emperor, putting him inside the same bowl to be cooked just like everyone else.
If you're someone that doesn't believe in karma, that right there is a perfect example of karma.
These are 3 people who survived unsurvivable things. First, in the early 1800s, explorer Hugh Glass was ripped to pieces by a grizzly bear. His leg was shattered, scalp torn off, punctured throat, and gashes everywhere. Having no hope, his friends took his gear and left him behind to die. But he didn't, crawling over 200 miles in the deadly wilderness, eating bugs, berries, and roots to survive. And after 6 months of crawling, he reached civilization and lived. Next, in 1945, a man named Stamu was on a business trip when one of the largest bombs in history hit 2 miles away from him in Hiroshima, launching him into the ground, causing serious burns, temporary blindness, and ruptured eardrums, but survived, going back home to Nagasaki to work again. While describing how he survived to his boss, boss, another atomic bomb dropped, hiding for cover and luckily surviving once more. Finally, in 1972, while a flight attendant named Vesna was on a plane ride, a briefcase bomb suddenly exploded, launching her out of the plane. Everyone else on the plane died, while Vesna fell strapped to her seat over 33,000 feet into a snowy hillside, breaking nearly every bone in her body, but survived and lived a normal life after.
Dude, she has got to be one of the luckiest people alive. Not only did she survive, but she broke every bone in her body and then also survived that. That's crazy.
Terrified to go to the cinema. This is the case of the horror in Screen 9. James Holmes was raised in California. His mum was a nurse and his dad was a scientist. From a young age, he was experiencing night terrors and allegedly actually tried to take his own life when he was just 11 years old. He was apparently obsessed with guns and weapons and had dreamed of becoming a mass murderer. Between May and July 2012, he legally bought 4 guns. Background checks were conducted and he was allowed the weapons. He also bought spike strips, which, if you don't know, pop the tyres of cars if they chase after you. On July the 19th, just hours before tragedy would unfold, James mailed his notebook to his psychiatrist. Inside the notebook, James detailed his plans to kill. The notebook was actually discovered later on undelivered. Just prior to entering a cinema in Aurora, James rang a crisis line to tell them about his plans to kill. However, the call was disconnected after just 9 seconds. At the midnight showing of The Dark Knight Rises, CCTV captures James walking into the cinema. He walks into Screen 9, props open the door, and then walks back out again. Shockingly, he goes to his car and gets guns out and gas canisters. He re-entered the screen at about 12:38 PM and set off 2 gas canisters. When he entered Screen 9 again, he immediately opens fire on the audience, instantly killing 10 people. 2 others later died in hospital from their injuries. An additional 70 people were injured. This was an absolutely packed out cinema. James also shot at people as they scrambled to exit the screen. His youngest victim was a 6-year-old girl. Witnesses said this all unfolded as there was actually a gunfight on the screen, and initially they all thought it was special effects and just part of the film. Police were actually on the scene very quickly after the first 911 call. James surrendered to the police and was arrested in the car park. He was apparently very calm when he was arrested and told police that he had booby-trapped his apartment. When police investigated his apartment, this was found out to be true. He was sentenced to 12 consecutive life sentences.
Some viewers may find this disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. Top 3 close calls with death. Number 3. As you can see, 2 men are working when a panel falls off, and without the proper protective gear, a worker is sent flying off the edge, barely hanging on. Luckily, he caught a metal pole on the way down and was able to climb his way to safety, practically unharmed. Number 2. While scuba divers were training underwater, a curious shark tries to join. But thanks to the extensive training of the scuba diver and the shark being more curious and aggressive, a few short pushes was all it took to make the shark uninterested in a difficult and hard to understand meal. Number 1. An old man having a break came inches with death when a drunk driver fell asleep at the wheel. He wouldn't have been able to get out of the way fast enough, so the old man was saved by sheer luck that the car stopped turning inches before he would have collided.
Oh no, oh no. Dude, you can't be falling asleep on the wheel like that. He could have easily just got like a, what do they call it, a manslaughter? That's when it's like unintentional, right? Like unintentional murder.
Explaining this disturbing looking video.
What in the dark web is going on here?
This really creepy looking video is something that I was tagged in on TikTok and requested to explain. Obviously, it's an older video, it has a very creepy vibe, and definitely looks like something that you would find on the dark web or like the deepest corners of YouTube. So let's just dive into the explanation here. This is actually a man, and his name is Kazuo Ono. Kazuo is very popular in his own regards. In particular, he's a super big inspiration and guru in the popular dance known as Buto. This artistic and somewhat bizarre dance form is very hard to define clearly, but what can be said about it is it was created post-World War II in the 1950s, and it had several different inspirations: French mimes, surrealism, and European and French literature, meaning that this video right here, of course, is just a performance that was recorded. I mean, it is pretty interesting to watch, I can't lie, especially with the music, makes it a lot more haunting.
Demi Lovato was coked up during Camp Rock.
No, she wasn't.
What?
Was she actually?
You don't know that? Every time Demi's like smiling, she'll watch it back. She goes like this. And like you can watch back, her eyes and are like this. Like people noticed it.
No way.
Yeah.
I never noticed.
And Alison Stoner, her castmate, came out with more lore because I think she did a whole came out interview with this, like exposing the directors. They said the final scene where they were like dancing in like shorts and t-shirts.
Yeah.
The directors made them do that during a Canadian winter.
They're freezing.
So watch it back. Everyone go watch back Camp Rock, the final jam. You can see their breath when they're singing. You can see the gas come out, or like the air come out of their thing. Because you know when it's cold? And like you pretend you're smoking?
Oh shit.
When they're singing.
So they just made it look like that.
The directors and crew members had parkas on and heating packs. And they were
everybody else was like freezing.
Some people were turning blue. They were slipping on the stage. I don't know why, but they had to shoot that day and made all these kids do that.
I mean, now knowing that Demi Lovato once, I think like a couple of years ago, overdosed on heroin, I could totally imagine that she was probably on something during those episodes.
The clip I just showed you was from the final video that Jacob Cockle ever recorded. Jacob was a famous surfer, a social media presence, a nature photographer. He did a lot, and he was a beloved figure in England. Before his death, Jacob's videos had garnered hundreds of thousands, millions of views on social media. And he was known not only for his love of the sea and his breathtaking photography, but for engaging in high-risk stunts. Stunts where he surfed over rocks or towards cliffs. Stunts where he jumped off of high buildings into the water below. And by his early 20s, Jacob had earned awards from places like National Geographic. He really was a beloved figure. But on May 28, 2013, Jacob's life would come to an extremely unfortunate end. On that day, a whirlpool appeared in Hale Harbor in England. This whirlpool would appear randomly in this harbor, and in the past, Jacob took tons of videos and photos of it and even swam in it. But on May 28, 2013, when Jacob jumped into the whirlpool wearing a horse mask, he had no idea of what was about to happen. In the footage, Jacob can be seen whirling around the whirlpool while his friend films him. They're talking about how it was stronger earlier, how it's a little scary right now, but it's nothing they can't handle. And at one point, Jacob swims out of the whirlpool, he grabs his GoPro, and he decides to get one shot of the nature event from underwater. Jacob then dives underwater and begins filming the whirlpool. This footage is all on YouTube. As he approaches the whirlpool, viewers notice that it's very strong, but it doesn't really look like something he can't handle, especially given the fact that he'd swam in similar circumstances many times. But at one point in the footage, Jacob seems to lose control and the camera work starts going all over the place. And back on the surface, Jacob's friend noticed that he went underwater, but he never came back up. Jacob's friend then frantically began to shout his name, searching for his body, but he saw no sign of Jacob anywhere. The whirlpool flowed through a tunnel into a pool, and Jacob's friend David then ran over there and started asking fishermen if they'd seen his friend. They all said no, they hadn't. Eventually, though, David saw Jacob in the pool. He was face down in the water, and he knew it was already too late. During his swim into the whirlpool, Jacob's wetsuit lost its buoyancy, which was something that Jacob didn't really account for, and that's what ended up helping him get sucked down into the whirlpool. After his death, Jacob was celebrated across the world, but I do have to say the footage of this incident is extremely chilling.
The buffer video will crash your entire phone if you try to watch it. Be sure you're following to stay in the loop. So there's this video that when you watch it, it'll either cause your TikTok app to force close or your entire phone to crash. Now the way that the video does this is it apparently starts out at a very low quality, the beat drops, and then it transitions into a super high quality video. This then causes the RAM in your device to be completely overloaded, leading to the force closes and the phone crashes. Now, from what I can see, TikTok has already dealt with the original buffer video, but there are still some that work if you have a very old device.
The Ice Age was a lot deadlier than what you thought, and should have been the end of the human species. But why? Firstly, humans were one of the weakest beings and had no fur, meaning just by stepping outside you could instantly go blind and freeze to death due to constant blizzards, needing to stay sheltered in dark caves for days on end until it cleared up. But it gets worse, as you were constantly being hunted, where saber-tooths or short-faced bears standing over 11 feet tall would hunt you during the day, and even if you waited until night, direwolves the size of you would hunt you down as well. But even worse, you couldn't grow crops, so you were forced to go outside and face all of these predators without a choice, equipped with only stone tools and bones as your main weapons to catch food and survive, needing to sacrifice multiple friends within your group just for every meal. But worst of all, you were statistically supposed to die before age 25 to 35, since this was the average lifespan. Where the human population at this time dropped so low, it was said we only had a few thousand left in the world, with an average group size of around 20 to 50 people at most, or sometimes much lower, being the hardest time period to ever live in.
You've probably heard that the 5 passengers on the Titan died instantly. But what does instantly really mean? Let's break it down. Your brain needs about 100 milliseconds to process pain. Your eyes? Around 13 milliseconds just to process an image. The Titan? It imploded in under 1 millisecond. That's so fast, the human brain never even had a chance to know what happened. Now imagine the depth. 12,500 feet below the ocean's surface. Down there, pressure is 380 times higher than at sea level, like the weight of a skyscraper pressing on every single inch of the sub. If the hull fails, water doesn't trickle in. It slams inward at supersonic speeds, crushing everything instantly. It's kind of like space, but reversed. In space, if a ship breaks, air rushes out. In the deep ocean, water rushes in. And because water is 800 times denser than air, the implosion is almost beyond comprehension. For the passengers, it wasn't fear or pain. It was truly instant lights out. No awareness, no suffering, just gone. A devastating tragedy, but at least it was mercifully quick.
That's actually kind of crazy. That means for them, it literally was just like, wow, we're at the bottom black. Isn't that crazy?
Ed Gein inspired horror movies, but what police found in his house was so disturbing, Hollywood couldn't show it. The house appeared to be generally in a state of decay, evidence of pest infestations and poor maintenance. When they expanded their search to the outbuildings, this is where they found Bernice Warden's body. It was hanging upside down. Her head was in a box, and her heart was in a different compartment near the stove, which confirms organ removal. Accounts from Wisconsin outlets say that the deputy who first lit the scene ran outside and vomited. The search of Ed's property continued for over a week because after finding Bernice Warden's body, investigators realized that they had initially dismissed as old dusty furniture was actually items made from human remains. 10 skulls with the tops taken off and used as bowls, and human skulls mounted as bedposts, and a heart found in a bag, and human skin, and many more discoveries that are personally just too gruesome to even detail. The discovery is documented in crime scene photos that remain some of the most disturbing images in American criminal history ever.
To every American that will come across this video, this message is for you. If you are planning on taking a trip to Los Cabos San Lucas in Mexico, do not go. It isn't circulating here in the United States, but all over Mexican news channels, there was a graphic warning given towards Kash Patel, the United States, and any American that will be traveling to tourist locations across Mexico. This threat was coming directly from the Sinaloa cartel in Mexico, linked to El Chapo Guzman and those who are loyal to his sons in Mexico. This threat is focused towards Americans because the Sinaloa cartel put up 2 banners on 2 separate bridges in Los Cabos, telling Kash Patel that him along with the United States have overstepped into Sinaloa cartel substance trafficking rings, and now they will be facing the consequences for those actions. And in this message that they left for Kash Patel, it says that they will be targeting American citizens, not just in Los Cabos, but in any other tourist city or towns across Mexico. Since the United States government has been cracking down on every single one of their shipments, every single one of their connections, as they are continually trying to traffic illegal substances into our country, now, according to the cartel, it will be an all-out war. And I know some of you may take this as a grain of salt, like, well, whatever, maybe in certain areas. You can never underestimate this type of group, this type of faction in Mexico, because they have a track record. And now that their money, now that their funds are being affected by the United States cracking down on illegal substances, now you and I may potentially become those targets. And a way that you can help spread this message is not just liking and commenting, but share it with every single person you know, because you do not need to be caught up in the mess that is going on between our country and theirs.
Yeah, so if any of you guys are planning on going to Mexico, just be super careful, because tensions right now between the cartel and just us normal civilians are high. You know what I'm saying? Because they got the big boy in the slammer. They got El Chapo locked up.
Do you still think about the last thing you remember seeing before you got shot and lost your vision?
So we call for our helicopters to come pick us up. And we only have to move about 400 meters to get to our pickup location, which is not far. So we're moving out. Helicopters are inbound. But then we get bogged down in the gunfight. So much so that we can't get to our spots in time. So we have to wave the helicopters off, tell them just to hang out in the area, and we'll call you in once we're secure. So at this point, we have a lot of gunfire coming in on us, including belt-fed machine gun fire. So I'm in my head, and I'm starting to freak out a little bit. Hey, we're going to die here. We're not going to be able to get out. The longer we wait, the longer the enemy has a time to amass in on us. So, but in combat, you can't show your fear. You can't show you're scared. I kind of had a self-talk to myself. Joe, you need to get your shit together right here, right now. We need to get out of here. So you need to take your head out of your ass, and we need to function. So I got myself together, and we have to kind of leapfrog from building to building to get set up in our positions to get the hell out of there. So we set up in our respectable locations. 4 helicopters are inbound, 3 land. Guess which one doesn't land?
The one taking you?
The Afghan crew and piloted one. And talking to the pilots afterwards, they felt because of all the incoming fire and a brownout condition with the bigger helicopters coming in, it kicks up a bunch of dust and it's hard to see. And it's just the facts that our pilots aren't as skilled. Their pilots aren't as skilled as ours. So we run out to our helicopter. And lo and behold, who's on ours? The Afghans. Instead of waiting for their helicopter, they just take off to the next one. It's not like Uber. You just can't take any one. You're supposed to get on yours. So we're arguing with them to get off the helicopter, and they're not moving. I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to go back into that hellhole. So instead of being in this open field and getting shot, we just tell them, okay, just take off. We'll catch the next bird. So we take cover in a ditch. fast team members with 2 Afghans. 3 helicopters take off. So now all the incoming fire is focused on us. So we're laying in this ditch. Then lo and behold, a short time later, here comes the helicopter. We're never going to get on. Lands about a couple hundred meters away from us. And I remember saying to myself, we can't stay here. This is our ride. We got to get the hell out. It gives more time for the enemy to amass. So I remember saying to myself, this is going to be a very run, but we got to get out of here. I remember getting up in a full sprint, the fastest my old ass can sprint and all that gear, and running for my life towards the helicopter. I remember firing a couple shots on the run towards the insurgents that were shooting at us. I guess I got to the helicopter in the front of the pack, and the Afghan door gunners weren't even shooting, even though we're getting shot at, the helicopter's getting shot to hell. So I don't remember any of this, but it's definitely something I knew I would do. I vowed that I would give up my life for my teammates if I had to. So I guess that's what I did. Once all my teammates got on or near the helicopter, my team leader tapped me on my left shoulder, said, "Let's roll." That's when I turned left to run onto the helicopter. That's when I was hit. I was hit, we believe, was a PKM. I was around from a PKM Belfa machine gun. The round went through the right side of my ballistic helmet, through my right temple, through the frontal lobe of my brain, and out my left temple. And I guess, fall forward like a ton of bricks. A lot of people think I got one of those wounds in the head where the bullet hit my skull and ricocheted around. No, it went straight through my brain.
And he survived. It said, "Phew." He said a machine gun. They're like, bum, 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 bum. And then he just, God was on his side that day. That's all I'm going to say.
If the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs approached the Earth just 2 minutes later or 2 minutes earlier, it would have missed the Earth completely. And this raises the question, what if the dinosaurs never went extinct? Like throwing a dart and hitting the bullseye from thousands of miles away, the asteroid struck shallow seas, which was the perfect recipe for disaster for the dinosaurs. If the asteroid was nudged just a teeny bit in either direction, it would have struck the deep ocean, where the impact would have caused earthquakes and tsunamis, but all the ejecta would have been absorbed by the waters, so there'd be no soot in the air, very little ejecta, causing any kind of global nuclear winter, which means the dinosaurs would have been saved for the most part. If the asteroid missed completely, we'd be living in a very different world. The evidence suggests that the dinosaurs were thriving up until the late Cretaceous. Even through all those volcanoes and all those things, they were still thriving. So if the impact never happened, they would continue to thrive and be dominant. They'd still be dominating all the other species, including mammals. Our great ancestors were there 66 million years ago. They were just small shrew-like animals. So our ancestors stayed small because that's what helped us survive. In the holes, underground, under the forests, we'd hide from dinosaurs trying to eat us. However, the Earth would have cooled down over time throughout the Cenozoic, as it did. In fact, the Earth would probably cool even more if the impact never happened, because the impact sent out tons of CO2 from the carbonates it impacted into the atmosphere, and it also burned all those forests. Those wildfires also emitted tons of CO2. So during the long term, the Earth probably would have been slightly cooler through time. This means that dinosaurs would have gotten smaller through time. 34 million years ago is when the Antarctic separates from the other continents and the Earth begins to really cool down. We see permanent ice caps at the poles, and we also start seeing grasses expand. So because the impact happened, this allowed the mammals to grow larger through time and take over those grassland niches around the world. And so herbivorous mammals became dominant, as well as carnivorous mammals like lions and tigers. But if the impact never happened, we probably would see dinosaurs like hadrosaurs and ceratopsians, the herbivorous ones. They would take over those grassland niches. Instead of woolly mammoths, we might see woolly triceratopses or woolly hadrosaurs. Grasses was a fairly new type of vegetation during the late Cretaceous, so dinosaurs were just beginning to consume some grasses. But it wasn't widespread like it is today, so dinosaurs would have adapted to eating more grasses and flowering plants. Flowers are also relatively new when the dinosaurs were in the late Cretaceous. But the dinosaurs allowed the proliferation of flowers because When they were stomping on the ground in these forests, uprooting trees and uprooting all this vegetation, dinosaurs were engineering the ecosystems to make them more open spaces where flowers can thrive. But the impact really devastated flowering plants and stalled their progress for millions of years. The extinction of the dinosaurs allowed forests to thrive where our ancestors would live inside the trees, and they would eat the nuts and eat the seeds and eat the fruits. Our ancestors needed the dinosaurs to go away so that we could take over those forest niches, allowing primates to emerge and evolve in their little social groups. Now, would the dinosaurs be intelligent? Well, a lot of people expect that inevitably intelligence emerges and evolves, just given time. Well, that's not true. One of the biggest reasons why we're so intelligent is because of our hands. Our hands allowed us to manipulate our environments and use tools and do all kinds of things with our hands. This served as a feedback loop of intelligence for us. Our hands manipulate the environment, our brains co-evolve to match it, and then we use even more sophisticated tools with our higher brain functioning. And so it was a feedback loop of intelligence. The dinosaurs didn't have that. Dinosaur arms were smaller, so they weren't grasping things with their arms like we were. Plus their hands, although graspable, they were just using them to attack prey. So their hands did not evolve at the same dexterity that ours did while we were grasping trees and branches when we were living in trees. Without that evolutionary trait, we would have never been able to develop tools and become intelligent using our tools together and live in societies. And so it's highly unlikely that the dinosaurs would have ever evolved intelligence like we humans did. However, the carnivorous dinosaurs would have adapted with the herbivorous grazing dinosaurs, just like today's lions and cheetahs adapted with the gazelles. The carnivorous ones likely would have hunted in packs, as that we know today in lions increases their success rate in hunting. And so pack hunting may have allowed the dinosaurs to evolve a kind of language when they were hunting. Dinosaurs didn't have larynxes like we do, they had something more like bird-like syrinxes, where their words might be pronounced with whistles and clicks, things like that. So you can imagine if you transported yourself to a different timeline where the dinosaurs are still alive, you might hear complex bird calls, maybe complex dinosaur language around the world. Now, dinosaurs didn't have a neocortex, just like modern day birds do not have a neocortex. This is a mammalian feature of the brain that helps us process emotions and memories, and we combine those two together. This enables very complex social hierarchies and social understandings. The dinosaurs wouldn't have had that, so they probably would not have developed societies such as ours. So think of how lucky we are. Think of the butterfly effect that has happened throughout these past 66 million years that enabled us to be here, to be on TikTok, to be human with all the richness and complexity that comes with us. This is a rare experience. You can't take it for granted. Looking back in the past reminds us that we're all beholden to Mother Nature and chance. That chance alone brought us the remarkable lives and deaths of the dinosaurs.
My theory about humans is a little bit different in my opinion. I feel like some sort of asteroid or some sort of like comet or something hit the earth that had like maybe like a virus or some type of like spatial different material that got in contact with I would say some sort of a species of monkey that eventually evolved our brains into becoming more intelligent. Yep, that's what I think. Because if you really look at it, there's been monkeys that have been around almost longer than us, and they have not evolved in intelligence. So where did we get our intelligence from? There's some people that think that there's some people that believe in the mushroom theory, where like along the way our Neanderthal ancestors that weren't as smart as us was just eating a bunch of mushrooms and then they became super intelligent. I don't really think that one is it. I feel like something from space hit Earth, gave intelligence to a species of monkeys, and that's us. And then we just kept evolving. That's what I think. Let me know your thoughts about that. If you think I'm crazy, hey, it is what it is. Dude, luckily it didn't blow up, but I know those people are at least injured.
Holy! This is one of the most insane things I have ever read. Scientists are now growing mini human brains to power computers. And this whole thing is creepy as hell. Now, for starters, you know in regular computers we call it hardware. Well, the scientists in Switzerland that are currently carrying this out, they're calling theirs wetware. Bro, what? Oh, and it gets even creepier because these labs buy human skin cells from anonymous donors in Japan, and then through a series of highly complex processes and several months of growing, they turn those human skin cells into clusters of neurons they are calling organoids. Bro, I'm sorry, the naming is wild. Now, the organoids are these little white orbs that are essentially lab-grown mini human brains. Now, they're much less complex than the ones in our heads, but they have the exact same building blocks. Now, these scientists then attach these electrodes to these mini brains, and they can send and receive signals from them, which they read on a regular computer screen. Now, currently, they're very simple. It's just little signals here and there, but they want to get these mini brains to the point where they are essentially biocomputers, and they can learn, adapt, get smarter, perform tasks, kind of like AI, but the AI doesn't mimic our brains, it's our brains. And because of that, these little mini brains are unpredictable, and the scientists themselves have admitted that they still don't understand what the organoids do and why. Now, here is the eeriest part, because regular computers, they stop working, don't they? But biocomputers, they literally die. So the scientists say they can survive for up to 4 months, but before they die, they observe a flurry of activity from the organoids, which is very similar to the increased heart rate and brain activity which is seen in some humans at the end of life. Ain't no way!
The Vikings were a lot more horrifying than you thought, and way more brutal than what you learned. But why? First off, their long ships were silent killers, meaning you wouldn't even know they were coming until you heard the clash of steel and screams from hundreds of miles inland. But it gets more terrifying. On the battlefield, they unleashed berserkers, warriors who entered a trance-like rage, howling like wolves and biting their shields, fighting with such insane fury they seemed to feel no pain. And if you ever escape, you could never truly run. Viking raids struck so deep and so fast that the enemies couldn't even catch them. They would always be gone before the help arrived, leaving nothing but fire and death behind. But worst of all was what they did to their most hated enemies. A ritual known as the Blood Eagle, where they carved open a victim's back, broke their legs, and pulled out their lungs to form a pair of bloody wings.
Yo, that is evil. I feel like the Berserker Vikings were low-key just on drugs. They just fuel them with a bunch of amphetamines and they just told them to just go.
Top 5 animals that are smarter than humans, apparently. Number 5 are elephants. Now, maybe we shouldn't have called that movie Dumbo. Maybe we should have called it Little Smart. They say elephants never forget, and there's an infamous story of an elephant that stomped a poacher to death who killed its baby, and then a week later at the poacher's funeral, the same elephant returned and stomped the body to a pulp. Okay, this is a true story, and it wasn't written by Quentin Tarantino, by the way. I know it sounds like something out of Kill Bill. Number 4 are dolphins. Now, they say dolphins are brilliant, but also kind of mean to each other. They like gang grape each other down there under the sea, like it's some damn Diddy party. I don't know what that says about intelligence and evil going hand in hand, or fin and fin, I should say. Number 3, bonobos. Apparently they're real good at using tools. Number 2, orangutans. And I've seen some of these throwing around at the zoo and never thought, wow, that thing might be smarter than me. If you like this list and want more about other nonsense, follow me. Leave me a comment if you think these animals are actually smarter than humans. I think until an animal produces, a play on par with Shakespeare or a theory that's relevant to quantum physics, I'm going to say they're probably not smarter than we are, but good try. Also follow my wife Samantha, who I've tagged, to check out our podcast, Brutally Honest with Sam and Jacob. Also book me on Cameo if you want a personal message, and don't piss off an elephant. Number 1 are chimpanzees.
There is only one thing the internet cares about right now. Did the frog survive? Now what you were seeing is a protest outside the front of the ICE headquarters in Portland, Oregon on Friday. And one individual that turned up is the anti-fascist frog, as they're known on TikTok. But when things start getting a little rowdy and people are getting arrested, the frog tries to help one of them up. As he does this, one of the ICE agents has the bright idea to try and pepper spray inside the breathing valve of the suit. Now unfortunately, the video ends before we know what happened next. But people in the comments were furious, saying things like that's not even funny, he could have suffocated, and that it was even attempted murder caught on video. Now I have reached out to the frog to see what happened to them after this clip, but there are currently 2 more protesters that are currently seeking legal advice about being pepper sprayed that night as well. But what do you guys think? Was this too far or not?
Dude, I kind of agree. Like, I feel like he low-key could have suffocated. Like, I don't think, if you guys have ever been pepper sprayed, I mean, I've never been pepper sprayed, but if you ever been pepper sprayed or even been around it, you know that scent is just strong. Like, everything about that is strong. And he put like a ton of pepper spray in that. That was kind of evil in my opinion by the cop, but you know, he survived.
The Titanic was a lot more horrifying than you thought, and was far worse than what you learned. But why? First off, you would be sleeping when it hit the iceberg, waking up to a loud bang and shake in the middle of the night, and at first you wouldn't even realize what happened, most people going back to sleep thinking nothing of it. When only 20 minutes later, you would start to hear commotion in the halls, being told to go to the top deck immediately, still in your night clothes, thinking it was some kind of drill. At this point, the crew already knew the ship was going down, but you wouldn't even know it yet, only feeling a very slight tilt in the ship. On the top deck, they would try to keep you distracted by playing music while slowly releasing safety boats to prevent panic, where only women and children could escape first. But as time moved on, the tilting grew much worse, where people on the bottom deck would start to see water flowing through the halls and rooms, standing in a large crowd for over an hour waiting to hopefully get a lifeboat. But as the clock neared around 2 a.m., a slow realization would take place that there's not enough safety boats for everyone. At this point, the entire ship would go into a full panic, needing to fight against the crowd to try to get onto the last few boats. Within the panic, the ship would tilt even more, causing the power to go out, which would be pitch black since there was no moonlight on that day. At around 2:18, the tilt would become so extreme it would eventually cause the ship to snap in half, many people flying off or being hit by debris. And if you somehow stayed on the ship, it was now rapidly sinking, where your only choice was to either dive into the pitch black 28 degrees water trying to find a lifeboat, or stay on the ship slowly being lowered into the water, freezing to death.
Many people wondering why David hasn't been arrested. Well, there are 2 main reasons. But first things first, for those of you that don't know, David has a problem. The body of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, remember her full name, that's important, was found in the trunk of his car. Now, in cases like this, people want answers, which is where the police have a problem as well. They can't mess this one up. Which brings us to the first reason David hasn't been arrested. The police need to do an absolutely thorough investigation. They need to know everything. Now, I understand that a lot of evidence has been found connecting David to Celeste Rivas Hernandez. But the thing is, it's not about how much evidence you have. It's about whether you can prove it to a jury. Now, if this goes to trial, with the lawyer that David's probably going to get, if police walk in and say, yo, we found this Discord chat with David, and a lawyer's just going to be like, prove it. Police would be like, David's lawyer would be like, exit? Is that what you're trying to say? Exit? Because we leaving. So again, reason number 1, David hasn't been arrested. Police need proof to see to what degree did David commit this crime. It could be 0. He could have not committed it. It could be he had a part of it. It could be he did the whole thing. Now, reason number 2 kind of ties into reason number 1. If you arrest somebody, they have the right to a speedy trial, meaning you put a time limit on yourself once you arrest someone. You better gather up all your evidence because someone's innocent until proven guilty. And you don't want a technically innocent human being sitting in a prison cell while police figure it out. Basically, arresting someone is like saying to your teacher, my project is ready. Your teacher's gonna look at you and say, all right, well, you better present it pretty soon. So police seemingly want to take their time researching all of the information so they have all of their ducks in a row. That's a good phrase. We need to use it more before an arrest is made, because things can get wicked. For example, why I kept telling you to remember Celeste Rivas Hernandez's full name is because there's another Celeste, both seemingly associated with David. There's Rivas Hernandez, the one that was tragically, and then there's Herrera. She popped up in many live streams with David. People speculated they had a relationship. Now, why I bring this up is because people believe that David's relationship with Herrera was to cover up the fact that he was dating Rivas, whose age is that. So now the court game takes another step, because if police believe that David did it, they need to make sure that this new Celeste is a non-factor in the court of law. If David's lawyers say, no, this is the Celeste that David was in a relationship with, police need to make sure they're on top of that. Maybe going to this Celeste and saying, hey, was your relationship with David real? Was it fake? If she says fake to cover up his relationship with Rivas Hernandez, boom, they got you. You know what I'm saying? Now, side note, some people believe because this new Celeste has appeared, David is completely innocent, to which I say, David could know one Celeste, two Celeste, four Celeste. Celeste Rivas Hernandez was found in his trunk. Keep your eye on the ball. Ain't nobody innocent until you get the evidence. Lock in. But again, all this to say, this is a high profile case, and it seems that police are trying to take their time to be as thorough as possible.
This is the heartbreaking moment a kangaroo was seen desperately trying to wake up his mate after she was struck by a car. The scene was so harrowing that wildlife rescuer Christian McDonald could do nothing more than shed a tear and watch on, knowing the animal's injuries were too severe to save her. The kangaroo was carrying a joey in her pouch, which Christian was able to rescue before he humanely euthanized her mum.
I guess that kind of proves that humans aren't the only species on the planet with empathy.
Nightmarish facts about your body that you probably shouldn't think about. The water you drink has probably been inside of someone or something else. Constipation can make you vomit poop. A teratoma is a rare type of tumor that can grow hair, teeth, bones, intestines, and more. There is a bloody skeleton living inside of you. Bone dust smells like Cool Ranch Doritos. This is what the MRI of a baby looks like. Holy shit. There's a condition known as fatal insomnia, where one day you can't go to sleep and eventually you die because of this lack of sleep. You know that moment when you're about to fall asleep and suddenly you flinch because you feel like you're falling? This is actually known as a hypnic jerk, and it alerts your body that you're dying, or at least thinks that you're dying. If you decapitate someone, their head will remain conscious for 15 to 20 seconds, which is long enough for them to realize what you did to them. Humans are bioluminescent, meaning that we glow in the dark, but our eyes are just too weak to see it.
Did you know that there is a woman on the internet that cleans graves in a cemetery? She records everything and posts it on her account, and what she just did made everybody more madder than I could have ever expected. So not only does she clean graves to literal perfection, but she does things that literally nobody understands. It was already strange that she was spending so much time in a cemetery, but this is where it gets so much more worser. As one cemetery that she went to is known for having very high energy, it began to affect her negatively, because at first she was just reading the names and telling the story of the people that she found. Then she started bringing flowers to the grave, but this is where it gets even more insaner. She started finding dolls and stuffed animals, where she would take these stuffed animals and dolls home, and she washed them until they looked so much more cleaner than they did before, and people were getting even more madder at her because she was taking things out of the cemetery that aren't hers. And this is where it gets even more scarier, because people started to notice things happening in her videos. People noticed that statues were moving, her dog would start barking for no reason. Just search for grave cleaning girl, and definitely don't look up the clean girl accident. And although there's been reports of her missing, she just posted an update and something seems off.
I'm not gonna lie, I completely hate this dude's grammar.
Grab your friends, grab a date, grab your tinfoil hats, because an alien spaceship is gonna be in our skies come end of November, beginning December. Yes, it's the infamous 3-Eye Atlas, and it just seems like the closer it gets, the more unexplainable it becomes. You know, the interstellar object making its way towards us that professors and media outlets are all insisting might be alien technology? Well, a literal YouTuber has taken probably the clearest photo of the object yet, somehow better than anything NASA has shown us so far. And let me tell you, this thing does not look like a comet. So sometime in the beginning of October, 3-Eye Atlas has officially been hidden from view for us here on Earth as it passes behind the sun, only to emerge around the end of November, and be at its most visible point from Earth mid-December, at its closest approach to our planet. But right before it went behind the sun, it passed by Mars, which NASA has an active satellite orbiting, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, MRO. And NASA previously mentioned it's reallocating a bunch of its space telescopes and satellites satellites to observe 3I Atlas as it passes by, of which included MRO. But just recently, they put up a notice on their site saying, due to the lapse in federal government funding, NASA is not updating this website. Conveniently, just right before the expected Mars flyby of 3I Atlas. Does this mean they're not going to be taking a photo of it anymore? Whatever this means, it's just incredibly questionable timing. And every photo NASA has released of it so far has just been a blurry, pixelated blob that anyone can dismiss as just a comet, which it might be. But somehow, amateur astronomers are taking better pics of it from here on Earth than the biggest space agency in the world. YouTuber Dobsonian Power used his backyard telescope to take this photo of 3I Atlas, which is honestly pretty wild if you ask me. I mean, the shot is fairly blurry too, but we can clearly make out a shape that is quite angular, maybe even somewhat, I don't know, triangle shaped. And digitally enhanced, this sure doesn't look like no comet to me. Comets are supposed to be fairly round and maybe lumpy, but this has like, I don't know, sharp edges and long protrusions coming out of it. Here it is, reconstructed with AI. And I know this is AI, it's far from accurate, but damn. And why is this still more clear than anything NASA has given us with their billion-dollar telescopes so far? Because the news coming out about this comet is just non-stop. Like, there's a new update every single day, with alleged leaks from European astronomers showing internal data that is not congruent with that of a comet, who also admitted the government is intentionally covering up the truth of 3I Atlas, albeit this was an anonymous post on a certain website that shall not be named. Another leaked NASA memo allegedly claims its acceleration is not consistent with Newtonian predictions, meaning it's speeding up and slowing down on its own, and that its surface appears to be made of a highly reflective composite material. Professor Avi Loeb also revealed the object is glowing from the front rather than from behind, as is expected from a comet, and also seems that it might be emanating its own light, which led some, including him, to suggest that it may be a nuclear-powered craft. Now, more recent news came out that 3I Atlas is massive, at least 33 billion tons, which is much bigger than we previously thought. And according to scientists, naturally occurring objects in interstellar space are just not supposed to be this big. Mass spectroscopy analysis reveal it's also rich in nickel and poor in iron, which is more like a manufactured alloy than it is a natural rock. Its trajectory is almost impossible to have occurred naturally, within 5 degrees of our solar system's orbital plane and passing by Mars, Venus, and Jupiter along its path, going directly behind the sun from Earth at its closest approach to the sun, which Professor Loeb stated the odds of this trajectory happening at random are like 1 in 20,000. 3I Atlas will emerge back into view for us on Earth sometime mid to end November, and then be at its most visible by Earth-based telescopes during its closest approach to us here on Earth in the beginning to mid-December. You are not going to be able to see it with the naked eye, and honestly, you're probably going to need a high-powered professional telescope to look at it yourself. But hey, if it does turn out to be artificial, it'll be pretty wild knowing an alien craft is drifting right above our heads at the end of this year. That is, if it doesn't reroute its path towards Earth when it's hidden behind the sun to invade our planet. Yeah, let's hope not.
Could The Rock actually become the next US president? Well, that's exactly what a lot of people are talking about today, because recently his odds of becoming the Democrats' next presidential nominee have surged on Polymarket above even Michelle Obama and Tim Walz. Now, realistically, his odds are still only sitting at about 2 to 3%, with Gavin Newsom and AOC being by far the top 2 contenders. But the crazy part is that he's up there without even saying that he's running. He has, although, dropped sneaky little hints. For example, in 2022, a poll came out that 46% of Americans would support his presidential run, and then he revealed that after that poll came out, multiple political parties approached him to see if he would run for US president in 2024. In 2016, he told GQ, "I can't deny the thought of being a governor or president is alluring." And then just a year later, he told Variety that the 2024 presidential campaign was a realistic consideration. Now, he mentioned what stopped him was his kids. He doesn't want them to be dragged into politics. But he still left the door slightly open because he told Trevor Noah in a podcast if that's
ultimately what the people would want, then of course I would consider it.
And hypothetically, if he did run in 2028, the current odds said that he'd be up against JD Vance. So the question is Dwayne Johnson exactly what the Democrats need right now? Or would AOC and Gavin Newsom be a better option?
I feel like America has this trend where they let a lot of celebrities now become president, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like this weird new trend, like Donald Trump, now maybe even The Rock. This man was a WWE wrestler. Let me know if you guys would like The Rock as president.
The most dangerous thing for your heart is not bacon, it's not butter, and it's definitely not red meat. The most dangerous thing for your heart is anything related to decreasing nitric oxide. Low levels will increase your risk for a heart attack. Number one are foods that increase insulin resistance. That's refined sugars, refined starches, and seed oils. Number two is smoking. Number three, which might be surprising, is mouthwash. Mouthwash kills the bacteria in your mouth that helps you make nitric oxide. Consume these foods to increase your nitric oxide. Arugula, beets, dark chocolate, citrus fruits, garlic, pomegranate seeds, and fermented foods like kimchi and sauerkraut.
You're brushing teeth with the river. It's clean. Clean enough for toothbrush. What are you using in your hand? What's that? Toothpaste. That's toothpaste? Oh, okay.
Indian toothpaste.
Okay. And no problem with stomach from this?
No problem.
No problem, yeah? You see this guy's brushing his teeth in here. Everything. Meaning it can't possibly be that bad even with your, It's easy for me to get ear infections. So I'm gonna keep my ear, I get infection easy. So I'm gonna,
Look here. Clean.
Like this, yeah?
Yes. 2 hand take, I can take up.
Okay.
Yes. Clean.
Okay.
Again,
huh? Still?
Yes. They're red color.
It's okay.
Look. Nosy. Yes. More water.
It's okay, I'll use soap at home. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't really think that water was clean.
A group of researchers say they have very strong evidence that they know where Amelia Earhart's lost plane is. Earhart has been missing since 1937, when she attempted to become the first woman to fly around the world. But 19 hours into her journey, Earhart reported to the U.S. Coast Guard that she was losing fuel. And shortly after, Earhart, her navigator Fred Noonan, and her plane mysteriously vanished above the Pacific Ocean, never to be seen again. Now, there have been countless conspiracy theories, purported sightings, and many attempts to prove what happened. But researchers from Purdue now say that they are close to solving the mystery. Back in 2020, they were looking at satellite images and spotted a visual anomaly known as the Taraya object in a lagoon on Nikamaroro. Nikamaroro is a small island in Kiribati, about halfway between Australia and Hawaii, and it just happens to be 400 miles southeast of Howland Island, which was Earhart and Noonan's planned destination. The research team is going to travel to the island. They're going to take pictures and videos of the site and use sonar to scan the area. Then they hope to drag the object out of the water in an attempt to identify it. Now, it has long been a theory that Amelia Earhart was marooned on Nikamaroro, and this could be the smoking gun to prove that theory correct. But while some historians believe this could be a breakthrough, others are a little bit more skeptical. There have been some disappointing attempts to find the plane before. Last year, an expedition team thought they found an object in the Pacific Ocean that resembled Earhart's plane, but it turned out to be a rock formation. When I was a kid, I was fascinated by Amelia Earhart. I was given this Dell Yearling biography of her, and her dreams, her ambitions, her courage were incredibly inspiring to me, and I've been fascinated by her life and her disappearance ever since. We'll have to wait and see what those researchers drag out of the ocean. I'm an optimistic person by nature. I really hope they solve the mystery of what happened to the legendary Amelia Earhart. But you let me know what you think and how you're feeling in the comments below.
If you ever want to sleep again, you'll scroll away right now, because this is the story of a man even more terrifying than the horror movie icons he inspired, like Buffalo Bill, Leatherface, and Norman Bates. This is the nightmarish true story of Ed Gein. I'm Mel Z. I talk about death, true crime, and weird pop culture stuff, so if you're a weirdo too, follow me. Ed Gein was born in La Crosse, Wisconsin in 1906 and was raised in rural isolation. His household was dominated by his fervently religious mother, Augusta, who was controlling and abusive and instilled a crippling shame and fear of sex and women in her two sons. Augusta preached that women were inherently evil, and Ed internalized his devotion and fear and believed that his mother was his only moral anchor. Ed's father, George Gein, died in 1940 from heart failure related to chronic alcoholism. Ed's older brother Henry was disturbed by Ed's obsession with their mother and would often speak poorly of her. In 1944, when he was found dead on the family property after a fire, his death was officially ruled accidental, but later accounts found bruising on his head, and suspicions persist that Ed was likely responsible for his death. After Henry's death, Ed and his mother were now alone on the farm. Just a year later, though, Augusta suffered another stroke and died, leaving Ed alone and obsessed with her memory. Ed became obsessed with the idea of bringing his mother back from the dead, and starting in the 1950s, he began exhuming bodies from the local cemetery of middle-aged women who he thought resembled his mother. The family farm became a house of horrors. He had made lampshades from human skin, bowls out of skulls, masks out of human faces, and he'd begun work on what he called a woman suit, which would allow him to become his mother and actually crawl into her skin. The house was the stuff of nightmares, and a neighbor boy actually told police at one point that he had seen shrunken heads in Ed Gein's house, but nobody seemed to believe him. The house was filled with his findings in the local graves, and in 1954 his behavior intensified when he actually murdered a woman, Mary Hogan. In 1957, he murdered a shop owner, Bernice Warden, who police later found in a horrendous state in his barn. Police began investigating and discovering all of his macabre collection. A sheriff who was on scene was reportedly so traumatized by what he saw that his health deteriorated and he died shortly after. His family believes that it was because of his experience with Ed Gein. Gein was arrested and questioned and admitted to everything and recounted the murders as well as the grave robberies and what he'd been doing in his house. In court, he was initially found mentally incompetent and was institutionalized, but later, in 1968, he was found competent to stand trial and was found guilty of murder, but legally insane, so confined to a mental health facility. While he was in prison, his house burned down. It was likely an act of arson, and shortly after, what was left of the property and the belongings on site were put up for auction. Hundreds of people showed up to buy souvenirs from this horror house. His car that he reportedly transported bodies in was sold at auction and turned into a carnival exhibit where the operator would charge 25 cents for people to look inside Ed Gein's ghoul car. Over time, the community protested the morbid spectacle, and the car was eventually put out of commission, and now nobody really knows where it is. It's supposedly just lost to time. In 1984, Ed Gein died from respiratory failure from lung cancer. He was buried in the family plot in Plainsfield, Wisconsin. His grave became a dark tourist attraction and initially looked like this when he was buried. But slowly, as visitors began chipping away at his grave, it started to really deteriorate until eventually it was stolen in the year 2000, and now it looks like this. Basically just a patch of grass with an unmarked grave. The Gein property is now just an empty lot. This is what it looked like at the time of his arrest, and this is what it looks like now. In the end, Ed Gein was laid to rest in the very cemetery that he had unearthed so many others, among the graves of women whose bodies he desecrated in the town he terrorized. His plot sits between his mother Augusta, the woman he worshipped and couldn't let go of, and his brother Henry, who many believe he murdered. The irony is chilling. Even in death, Ed Gein remains tethered to the woman he couldn't live without, and surrounded by the dead he once used to try to bring her back. How much worse is the real man compared to the horror movie icons he was based off?
Some neuroscientists believe that they now know where consciousness lives in the brain. We may actually be able to finally tell which animals are conscious or not. We'll talk about it. Consciousness is a long debated topic. It is the perception of self, and it's very hard to pin down exactly what it is. You know, at least I hope you know, that you're in your head observing things, but you got a whole brain that does different stuff. Where is consciousness coming from? Until recently, researchers have believed that it is the white matter in the brain. Until recently, researchers have believed that it was the newly evolved portions of the brain, the cortex, the stuff on the outside. Think white matter. After all, the inner part of the brain, that's more primitive, and it takes care of your body, it keeps your heart beating. It makes you afraid of things, in amygdala. However, studies of people that had large portions of their brains missing were still experiencing something akin to consciousness. In situations where the cortex was wholly missing, yes, somebody would be in a vegetative state, although if there is even the smallest bit left, caregivers would describe there being play behaviors. If the entire cortex was missing, yes, somebody would be in a fully vegetative state, but as long as there was some little piece of it left, yes, people would display behaviors that would suggest being conscious. This was suspected because caregivers would be able to describe when a child was having an absent seizure, for example. So they are at a lowered state of consciousness. And similar studies were found in animals that are not all that ethical. So one new hypothesis is that it is the inner parts of the brain. So the subcortex. The core part of your brain, that's the one that is the most ancient, but then it is refined by the cortex. So rather than it being one or the other or one single spot, it is a combination of the two. And that does make logical sense. You would need to have the basal layers of your brain in order to function, sure, and then we would probably see higher levels of function in animals that have the more developed cortex. This would also tell us that all animals are conscious to some degree. They got a brain, they are at least somewhat conscious. Not all animals have a brain. This does have some pretty interesting consequences for consciousness, but I ran out of time, so I'll talk about it next time.
My least favorite things about space. Part 22. I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. Up and down doesn't exist. It's not real. Your notion of up and down is entirely relative to you. There are people on the other side of this floating rock that we all call home, directly below you, that have the exact opposite notion of what is up and down compared to you. Because of this, if you live in the northern hemisphere, you have seen the moon like this your entire life. If you live in the southern hemisphere, you've seen the moon like this your entire life. Neither one is wrong. There is no correct way to look at the moon, because the moon does not have an up or a down. And the entire floating rock that we live on is the same way. It has a tilt. The Earth is tilted 23.5 degrees compared to the plane of the solar system. But you can't even say that the plane of the solar system is up or down because it's tilted at a 60-degree angle compared to the plane of the galaxy. But then if you zoom out and you look at our closest galactic neighbor, you see that we're almost at a 90-degree angle compared to each other. So where's the real up and down? Because if you zoom out past that, the universe essentially becomes a 4D spider web. And good luck finding up and down there.
That actually is super crazy to think there's people under me. Like, if you go straight down, that's another side where people are seeing up just like me. It's crazy. The world is weird, man.
President Trump says Sean Diddy Combs has asked him for a pardon.
I have a lot of people have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon.
Combs is serving a 4-year sentence in a New York City jail on 2 prostitution-related charges. Attorneys for Combs have not commented on President Trump's remarks, but they are asking to move his sentence to a low-security federal prison in New Jersey. ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer is following that story for us. Brian, you say the president could help Diddy get released without a pardon or full clemency. How so?
So it would be the other way around, that he can, in fact. The president has very broad powers in terms of clemency. Clemency being the larger umbrella where both a pardon and commutation could come up. Now, for most people, they make an application to the Office of the Pardon Attorney and the DOJ, but someone like Sean Combs could go directly to the president, or he could just simply hear of him, and he can either reduce his sentence to the point that he can get released, a commutation, or give him a full pardon.
You say there's also a program that could reduce Diddy's sentence for a year? How?
Yeah, so the defense attorneys have asked for a program called RDAP. It's a very extensive program that if you're incarcerated in the federal prison system for about a little over 3 years, so Sean Combs would be applicable for that, and also have some sort of substance abuse issue. It's a 9 to 12 month 500-hour intensive drug program that if you are successful at it, you can reduce your sentence by an additional year on top of your already good time that you would serve.
I'm telling you right now, if Trump released Diddy, the whole world would go wild. That would be the worst thing he could do.
Thank you all for watching this here video. Please like and
subscribe.